Je rêvais d'un monde nouveau, sans excès cette fois, plus doux, plus courtois.
Welcome back to episode 43 of Monday Diaries, where I build in public and distill all of my lessons into these weekly videos. I am out here, day 6 of the founder residency, where we've got 7 of our members just living together, sharing ideas and feedback with each other. And it's been, I'm just reminded every time when I'm in these spaces why I'm here and why we're doing what we're doing. It's just hard to put into words, I think. But for me, when I first got here, I guess the honest update is that I was pretty kind of anxious and not in flow, and part of that's just the responsibility of organizing the crew. Even though everyone's super chill and we have a very relaxed atmosphere here, I still felt that until everyone started broing out and I could see everyone was getting value and I could hear the conversations that were happening, and then it was like this switch that flipped and I was like, I can relax into it now. Once you come to one of these things, you're locked in for life kind of thing. It's so clear, the value proposition, once you're here. But anyway, you're probably wondering who's here, and we've got Rumi cooking up a big old video for this whole trip, so you're going to see a lot more insight into the people. But I wanted to kind of explain who's here, what they do, very briefly, so you guys get a feel for it. You want to be on camera?
How's the view, mate?
What's up?
It's not bad with that little arvo spot.
So this is Dylan. He's, I guess, the first one I'll mention. He's creator, building a swimwear brand. We've also got a video coming with him in the future you're going to see very soon. You got anything to say to the crew?
What's happening? It's our second last day here in Lombok. Boys been absolutely ripping on the last few days. Learning, training, growing, and enjoying the sunset.
Good shit, dude.
How good. See you
Take care. There's also Rumi, who I said is on our content team, but he has a pretty interesting background. He used to sell ants when he was a teenager, and then had a video agency, and now he's working closely with me on a few things. There's Dylan S, the other Dylan, who's a brand designer and just shreds with design and strategy. There's Jan, who just loves automating things. He also previously ran an agency. Luke is running a telehealth company that's doing numbers right now, really on this sort of growth trajectory. That's a D2C brand, but in the medical space, which is kind of unique. Who else we got? Dustin. He basically helps people escape their 9 to 5 and get government funding to go and pursue their own thing, which is like such a fucking cool business model, particularly in Germany. He's from Germany, so that's what he does. We've also got Ash, who's a pretty serial entrepreneur. He's the oldest of the bunch, but definitely a kid at heart. And he previously had a neon sign business that was doing sort of 30 mil a year. And as the story goes, I actually sit down with him and share that story, but he had eventually liquidated that. So it's a wild story, but now he's just launched a ice bath company. I think that's everyone. And me, obviously, building Art of Mondays. Oh, the last thing is that I have heaps of friends that live in Lombok, guys in e-commerce, agency, Shopify apps. That's kind of the industry they're in. They live here and they're just flocking in by the numbers right now because my best mate Cami is getting married this weekend and they're all coming for the wedding. So it's just like this hub of activity, which is so dope and so unique and special to have such, a core group of young, mostly guys, but girls as well, just getting after life and enjoying the process. So I wanted to lean into a big idea. Let me move this in front so I stop looking to the side. And that is that people really help you see your blind spots. You're given this unidentified person and their current situation, and they ask you what should they do in that situation, and you probably have great advice. You say, do this, have you thought about this? And then you realize that that person is actually yourself in that exact same situation, yet you can't give yourself the same advice. It's really hard to do that. So I think having a close-knit community of people who are arm's length, they're not super close to your business or your life, that they can just give you such valuable insight and experience from their own experiences that money can't really buy that. That's the reason people have coaches and mentors, right? So I guess money can buy it, but you know what I mean? So it's a big one. You also can't connect the dots looking forwards. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. I think that's the Steve Jobs quote. Someone made that comment and they were talking about this residency specifically. Like, we don't know the outcome of this space in the future. There's going to be opportunities created. There's probably going to be companies created. There's probably going to be crazy things that happen as a result of this time that we're spending together, and we don't know it yet. We can only see that in the future when we're looking back. And I was thinking about that, and then I realized, I look back at a residency that we ran in Greece back in June this year, so like 4 months ago. and Victor and Connor, two of our members, met there for the first time. Basically had a little bromance going on. They used to just go on huge morning runs together, and then they traveled a lot of the world together. They went to Canada, New York, Copenhagen for like a month, and now they're about to start a company together as well. And I was like, that's literally the perfect example of what I was just thinking of. And it's fucking crazy when you think about it, like being in a business model where true impact can actually happen. And I think for so many people, it's nice to say we have impact and we give back and we donate and those sorts of things, but actually finally being in a space where it actually happens and there's tangible evidence of it is crazy. I've not had that before, so that's really fulfilling for me, and it's just affirmation that we're on the right path. The underlying lesson there is that in every moment that goes past, and every person that you meet, and every conversation that you have, regardless of their status or who they are or where you meet them, be present and give them your full energy and let that moment exist, because you don't know what that creates in the future for them or for you. And if you're open to that, it's going to create incredible opportunities. And if you haven't experienced it, please just trust my word and let it happen. Okay, now for the business updates, the juicy stuff. And I got a slap on the wrist from Evan in our meeting today. He said I should stop sharing so specific and transparently on the numbers, because I mean, ultimately it probably invites competition and misconception, because in a business, it's revenue numbers isn't true money in the bank or anything like that. And I pushed back a little bit because that's the point of this channel, is to actually be transparent and authentic in the process. I could see my phone shaking right now. Hopefully it's not too bad in the wind. So yeah, I mean, it's something I'm going to keep doing. I'm probably not going to go into the intricacies of like how much we pay ourselves and that sort of thing. To date, it's been very minimal, almost barely enough to live off. No, actually not enough to live off at all, barely enough to survive. But it'll change at some point. I mean, that's the reason we're building this, is to also create wealth. So I'm rambling now, but I'm going to give you the numbers anyway. And Evan, if you hate this, then we could deal with it later. So Art of Mondays has had 343 applications so far. We've accepted 54 members. The average members in their 20s, mid-20s, and they're all lifestyle founders, or what we call lifestyle founders. So we're now sitting at 215K in revenue, I think is accurate. And that's Art of Monday specifically. And then we have the Founder Sports Club, which is a new product we launched 2.5 months ago that has 657 members and about 4K or over 4K a month in recurring revenue so far. So smaller in comparison, but growing like very rapidly. A lot of this week or last couple of weeks has been huge updates on the sports club side, both on the product side, but also the back end, particularly the back end, to allow us, there was just things breaking, and we needed to rebuild the infrastructure to allow us to be able to scale it. And what's great about scaling that is we spend ads on the sports club, that turns a profit, but then also feeds the pipeline for Art of Mondays, which is our sort of core offering, that private community for founders to come together. Part of the reason we're on this residency right now. So anyway, the system's working, the flywheel and the funnel works. And that's probably the greatest takeaway from the last couple of weeks. Personal brand growth stats. I'm at 7,606 subs on YouTube. That's up 66. Instagram's at 148.2 thousand. That's down 325. TikTok is at 330.1K. That's up 77. If you look at my TikTok, like the last 6 videos are over 1 million, which is nuts to me. And the Art of Mondays Instagram is at 9,133, which is up 617. Continues to be like just flying, which is dope. As always, I want to give you something to ponder, to think about, and that is, who can you write a handwritten note to today? Because we talk about being present and in the moment when you meet people. How many times have you received a note saying, hey man, thanks so much for that time. It was dope to meet you. Or some sort of compliment or connection. If you do that, I guarantee, if you do it once a day or 3 times a day to people in your network, I guarantee you're going to make an impression, and that's going to create infinite opportunities in the future. And yet nobody does it. To wrap up, there's free stuff, there's my socials, there's the businesses, all in the description. I want to connect with you guys. Message, I reply to every message, and I really appreciate you guys being here. See you in the next one.